Hi guys, it's Eliza. I actually made it. I told you I would. This is the Orcust K9 combo guide, and guess what? It is completely viable for Duma Dimensions. See, there was a reason why it took so long. No, there isn't. The combos don't change. I'll tell you why in a second. I'm sorry it took so long. I've had a lot going on with school and my mental health and getting a job. But before we get into the combos, I want to give a discussion about Orcust and then Orcust K9 itself. So for Orcust, the new ban list has banned the one and the only King of the Feral Imps right here, which made Orcust Mitsu arguably the most powerful, not best. I still think Orcust K9 was the best version, but it was the most powerful version. But with the banning of King of the Feral Imps, I do not think that's the case anymore. That is not to say that Orcust Mitsu isn't good. Here's an example. This is an Orcust Mitsu list that topped the Raymond WCQ. I have no complaints. This list is not bad. I actually really like it. And I like Orcust Mitsu. I want to bring that up and clarify. I like Orcust Mitsu. I played it at the NAWCQ Last Chance qualifiers, and I nearly got in. I only lost because I didn't win a single die roll, which that's more just being unlucky. But I don't like Orcust Mitsu. I think Orcust K9 is better because look at this. Murakumo, Futsu, Arumasa, Saji, Kusanagi, Magatama, Mirror. And Pseudo Ritual, all of those. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Those are 8 cards you don't really want to draw for this engine. Like, yeah, it's not horrible to draw these cards in combination with others, but it's just clogging up your deck with cards that increase the chances of performing poorly. And we already have that. Orcust already has the problem, where you'll sometimes just open a hand and you'll open, like, Babel, Crescendo, Symbol Skeleton, in Ash Fuva or something, and you'll be like, oh, this isn't very good. The deck, not saying it's like a horrible hand, but it's not very good. I will say one of the reasons why this deck is still really, really good is Dominus Impulse. You can play Dominus Impulse in this deck. You can't play it in the Orcust K9 deck, which I think is a good reason to play it. But I just do not think that I want to enter a list with so many cards I don't want to draw. They're not bricks, they're not garnets, they're just cards you don't want to draw. I just don't want to play that many. If you do, that is fine, and 100% to you. You might increase your card count, like this person's done here, 44. I was playing 45 at the NAWCQ. I've seen people playing upwards of 55. It's really your call, and I support you in that decision. But I will just put my opinions out that I do not think I would bring Orcust Mitsu to an event unless I was just there to have fun. I just do not want to have weak hands. I don't want to have that many weak hands, which is already a problem with Orcust. Anyway, oh, and the ban list banning Moon just completely kills Orcust Phoenix. I don't even need to go into detail about that. So, Orcust K9. So this is the list I played at the regional, my topping list. I still think this is good. You could still bring this to an event and probably do well. I do not think... This is not the list I'm playing, though. I'm playing this list. This is before you ask, this is post-Duma Dimensions, which we're not playing K9 Nori. I'll get into that for a second. But what are the changes? I've upped on Case of K9 from 2 to 3, and I've upped Chaotic Elements from 1 to 2. These replaced the Ogres that were there previously, and I just found that those Ogres weren't really helping. Whenever I drew those Ogres, they basically never did it. They never were the reason I won. Well, every time every time I didn't open Case for K9 or Chaotic Elements, it hurt. I wanted to draw these. I wanted to have these in my hand. More K9 cards means more K9 power, which means more ability to play through interaction. As for changes, I've changed the side deck up a bit, not that big of a deal. I've cut cross out for a Solemn Judgment, no big deal. Though a big one is I cut out Clockwork Knight. I replaced it with Valon. This is because I think that Clockwork Knight was the optimal decision on the previous format, where people didn't know Orcust K9 was a thing. And Crystron K9 was still kind of also not being very well known. Now that Crystron K9 is arguably the best K9 variant, people know how to interact with River Stormer. They know to imprint the River Stormer, not the Scrap Recycler. And in that case, Clockwork Knight is kind of just a dead card in your extra deck that you're wasting. While Valon can be made under the Dark Lock from your Orcus, which is a big deal, and it's also just a good card. If you don't know what Valon does, it says during the main phase, quick effect, you can attach one material from this card, then target one face-up monster your opponent controls, change it to face-down defense position. That's already good. But then, if it's sent to grave, you can target a face-down card and destroy it. This makes it act as a double whammy, because like if you have IP on board, you made one of those half boards, you can make Valon to book something, then IPs away the Valon to pop a spell trap. This is not to say Valon is the only way to play. I just personally have been finding success with it. There was also a comment on my previous video asking about what I would replace this package for. I built a list which is for budget players. I've replaced some of the cards, like I've replaced the Fuvas. And this is my deck list. We're still playing the Nash Knight, but just because it's a good card, and we're playing Honored Arc to enable it, but we're also playing Silent Honor Dark. We can just hard make this and it's really powerful. Or, if you want, you could consider cutting Clockwork Knight, like I've said. I made this list before Clockwork Knight. I decided to cut Clockwork Knight in my previous list, and you can play a second Nash Knight. This allows you to have 2 targets for Nash Knight, so you can use it twice, and this card's just busted. But yes, I hope this is helpful as a list for budget players. Now, I said I would get to it, and I will, on why we're not playing Nori. So, Nori. This is the new K9 in Doom of Dimensions. It says if your opponent has 2 or more cards in their hand, you can normal or special summon this card without tributing. You can always use each of the following effects of K9 for Nori once per turn. If this card is normal summoned, you can special summon 1 non-machine K9 monster from your deck. But you cannot special summon from the extra deck except K9 monsters while you control that face-up monster. And its other effect is you can send a face-up K9 card you control to the grave to look at your opponent's hand. This is undoubtedly busted. Nori's amazing. I think you should be playing Nori in basically every other K9 deck. The problem is, Nori just is kind of a soft Garnet in our deck. Because, like, you can't really normal summon it. You want to normal summon your Orcusts or your Scrap Recycler to get into your Orcusts. Okay, we'll Jokel it out. But how are you getting to Nori if you haven't used Jokel? Because that's pretty much always how you're going to do Nori. Unless you're increasing your number of Nori to go from 1 to 3, but, like, that's just insane. Or, in which case, you would have to draw one of and a way to... You need to draw either 3 Jokel and one of your Jokels and a Nori, a Chaotic Elements in a Nori, a Jokel and a Case for K9, or a Case for K9 and a Nori, which does sound like a lot, but it just makes your deck weaker to interaction. And if you open in your hand, oftentimes, if you don't have a way to Jokel, it's just going to feel bad. Like, that's one of the benefits. You only really have 2 cards you don't really want to draw at all in the K9 engine. And you want to add a third? Why would we do that? Not to say that you can't play Nori. If you just personally think Nori is good, then all power to you. I just think that through all my testing, Nori is basically just a brick. With the conversation about the deck done, I know it's already 10 minutes in, but let's get into the combos. So, first off, this is like the best case scenario. What if you have Girsu, Jokul, and any level 5? Any level 5 will do. I just did Jokul because it doesn't mean anything. It's just a blank. So you can start off by going Jokul, reveal Jokul. You can summoning both, and then you can use Jokul to search Lantern. You can then overlay for Ripper. This insulates you from Nibiru. This is one of the big things that makes this deck so powerful. So many of your lines just make a Ripper before they can nib you, which is one of my main complaints about Orcust Mitsu, is that, yeah, your Mitsu cards can play through a Nibiru, but your Orcust can't. You're just not playing Orcust K9 Orcust Mitsu at that point. You're playing pure Mitsu, which is just not that good. Not saying pure Mitsu is a good deck. It's a great deck. Like, you're playing pure Mitsu, but with less non-engine, less consistency, and a worse extra deck, which really just sucks. Well, this combo just goes into Ripper to prevent Nibiru immediately. It also can protect from Ash, which is helpful. You can then Ripper for Azuna. You now have Azuna. You always can search Azuna, which is insane. You basically get a search a hand trap, which is another thing. Or this doesn't get to play many non-engine cards, so being able to search a non-engine is busted. You then Lantern can target Jokul, summon both. Lantern effect, search case for K9. Case for K9 effect. Search Lupus. You'll then make Nash Knight. If you don't play Nash Knight, you can instead make Valon. Or you can still make the Nash Knight if you're playing the budget version. Though I would probably suggest Valon, just so that you can make them think you maybe are not playing Nash, or you can save your Nash, especially if you only play one. But this is the expensive version, so Nash effect, equipped Masquerade, make CXC's Nash Knight, CXC's Nash Knight effect, make Umbral Horror effect, target case to destroy it, case effect when it's destroyed, setting X-Force release. Now that all that's done, you have Umbral Horror Masquerade and a Ripper set up before you start your Orcust stuff. So like Phantasme, which is a problem with this deck, can be Umbral Horror can help with Phantasme. Ripper helps with Nib and Ash. So you normal summon Girsu, send Orcust Harpor, using the link 1 into Galatea I. Galatea I, send Lupus. This, which is free value because it means your opponent's going to have a hard time stopping your Azuna to summon on their turn, it basically guaranteeing that you can make like a Valon on their turn. Searching Orchestrate Babel, obviously. Activate Babel, and then Harpor effect. They can't safely Ash you because of Ripper, which means their only real option is to Dominus Impulse you, which, if they have it, they have it. But you still can go into Azuna, and you can still, if they Dominus Impulse here, then you can still go Azuna summon Link 2 into Galatea. Galatea target Harpor, and you still end with Crescendo, X-Force release, Ripper, Masquerade, which is still pretty strong. And that's if they have Dominus Impulse, which isn't going to happen most of the time. Summoning But Harpoor is going to summon Symbol Skeleton. You can then link both away into Galatea. Galatea effect, target Harpoor, setting Crescendo. Then Galatea I effect, banishing Gears. You bring them both back. Bring back Banish. Then make Longirsu. Symbol, target Galatea. Make Ding with Galatea. Ding effect, attach Symbol. Link 4 into Elgirsu. Then Elgirsu. You can Elgirsu target Girsu to add it back to hand for follow-up. Or, if you so choose, you also don't have to do that. You can just leave them there to immediately enable the Elgirsu. It really depends on what the rest of your hand's like. Then, this board ends off with Symbol Skeleton to bring back Ding, which is Ascend. Izuna plus Lupus, so you can go into a Valon. You have Crescendo, which is an Omni. You have a on-field negate, half your opponent's life points, and rip a random card. A monster from the hand or grave negate, and a pop that also a pointer is of the Red Lotus, and you still have 2 cards in hand. That is pretty strong. No one has ever broken this board in my playtesting. You need to open a cracked hand. And even then, if they don't sequence their plays properly, or you sequence your plays properly, you probably should just always win. But so that's the best case scenario combo. Now let's look at how K9 bridges into Orcust. So this can be done with Jokul plus any level 5. I chose Jokul because it's basically a blank. This combo is incredibly weak to interaction, but if you only opened 2 Jokul, I'm sorry, just draw better, I guess. The game just was pretty unwinnable at that point, if they had interaction anyways. But you can go Jokul, but the combo is Jokul, reveal Jokul. Jokul effect, search Lantern. Make Ripper. Ripper effect. Search Case. We search Case here because we can't search Case with Lantern. As we aren't going to be able to go into Masquerade unless our opponent hand traps us with a monster hand trap, we need to guarantee access to X-Force release with the Lantern search. You then go Lantern, target Jokul, Jokul effect, search X-Force release, make Infinitrack River Stormer, River Stormer effect, search Scrap Recycler, normal summon Scrap Recycler, send Harpoor, Case for K9 effect, search Izuna. You can then Harpoor effect, insulated from Ash because of Ripper, summon Girsu. Girsu effect, send Symbol Skeleton. Then you can link 1 into Galatea I. Galatea I, send a card from your hand. In this case, I did Izuna, in case it's the worst case scenario. But realistically, you should just keep Izuna in hand and send something else from your hand to grave, like a dead Fuvalos or maybe an Ash Blossom. You can then use the Galatea I to search Babel, activate Babel, link the Infinitrack River Stormer of the Galatea I into the original Galatea. Galatea, target Heart or set Crescendo. Link 3 into a Longirsu, symbol targeting in Galatea. Ding using Galatea. Ding Girsu effect, attaching symbol. Link 4 into Elgirsu. Then set 1 and pass. So this combo ends on Elgirsu, which is the same Snatch Steal, Crescendo, which is an Omni, X-Force Release, which is a pop-in on a pointer, Ripper is a detached negate a monster effect in the hand or grave. You have the send with Ding, and you likely have the Izuna still in hand to make Valon. Not too shabby for just 2 Jokels. Obviously, again, like I said, this is weak to interaction, but if your opponent's playing cautiously, you should still be able to end on something similar. So, I've shown you, like, the best case and the pseudo-worst case scenario. Now it's time for, like, the bread and butter. So, this is Jokel, Girsu, and any discard. This could be any card to discard, preferably an Orcust, but in this case I just did it in Perm. This is not the best line for this. This is the line that plays around Nib. There's another line that disrespects Nib that ends on an IP in addition to the other cards on board. But, again, if you just run straight into Nib with that combo. And I would prefer to end on a slightly weaker board to not lose to instantly lose to a hand trap. Normal summon you start off by normal summoning Girsu and sending Harpoor. You then link 1 without using Girsu's effect to go into Galatea I. Galatea I, send your discard. Search World Legacy World Chalice, which, if you remember correctly, is a level 5. Which allows us to go Jokel, reveal World Chalice, summon both. Then you can Jokel effect to search Lantern, make Ripper, Ripper effect, search case, Lantern target Jokel, summon both, Lantern search X-Force release, case effect search Izuna. This line is just play Lantern adding X-Force release and Ripper adding case. Just plays more around in negation on the Lantern. Though it's not entirely necessary, you can go Nash, Nash effect, you know, classic Nash, make C Nash, Umbral Horror. You then set X-Force release, and we have not used Harp Horror in the grave. So now we're going to continue with our Orcust plays now that we no longer care about being locked into darks. We got Harp Horror effect, summoning Symbol Skeleton, link 2 into Galatea, Galatea effect, target, setting Babel. If you're wondering why I'm doing that weirdness, Dueling Book doesn't let you set field spells to the field spell zone for some reason. And we're choosing Babel over Crescendo because the one Omni Negate is less valuable than the Snatch Steal and the Send, in my opinion. You can then activate Babel, Galatea I effect, summon itself back, link 3 into Long Girsu, Symbol Skeleton, target Galatea, make Ding, link, attach, then link into Long Girsu, effect, and you may use the effect to just add Girsu for follow-up. And that's what you end off on. So you have Izuna in hand, you have Umbral Horror and Ripper, you have X-Force set, case on field for protect, and you have the summon back here still. It's still a really strong board. This combo, this combo gets a lot better if you hard open Babel, World Chalice, or the Trap. You immediately go full combo. You still get the Trap in Babel and everything if you hard open one of those 3. But even without that, this board's still pretty good. Now lastly is for a fun combo, just to show you how much I like the K9 cards. This is an actual recreation. This is how you can combo with just an Izuna. First, how you can combo if your only engine card's Izuna. This is a recreation of what happened in my round 1 at the regional, where my VS K9 opponent full veloced me. and my only engine card was Izuna. So, they go Fuvolos. You can chain Ash if you have it. If that is this could also be Perulia. In the case, you can just summon Izuna from your hand in response, and they will only give them one draw with the Scrap Recycler. It is not, at that point, it just isn't worth ashing it if they activate Perulia in this case. But, so you ash the Fuvolos, and since they activated a monster effect, you can Izuna, send Lupus, Lupus effect, summon itself back, overlay into Ripper effect, search Lantern. We are specifically detaching the Lupus just so we can get the Lupus under the River Stormer as material. In case you do play the Clockwork Knight, in which case you can force your opponent, if you make it with a Lupus under it, you can force your opponent to imperm the Scrap Recycler instead of the River Stormer. You can then go Lantern, target Lupus, bring both back. Lantern effect, search release, because we're not going to go into, we can't go into Masquerade, so so we can't really afford to search the other one. This is the only way to get release in rotation. You then overlay for River Stormer effect, searching Scrap Recycler, normal summon Scrap Recycler, send Harp effect, summon Girsu effect, send, link 1, Galatea I, send whatever discard you have, search Babel, activate Babel, link 2, into Galatea effect, shuffle back, set, link 3, the long Girsu, effect, symbol skeleton, bring back, make ding, effect, attach, link 4 into L Girsu, set 1, and you still have her to bring her back, and you can add this Girsu back for follow-up. So, with this combo, you still end on Babel, Ripper, Release, Crescendo, L Girsu, and Symbol Skeleton with a Lupus engrave. From your opponent daring to try and interact with you with a Fuvolos. This was insane, and I did that not only in my round 1, but also in my second to last round against K9 Vanquished Soul Ryziel, which was a weird deck. But I think this is incredibly useful and important to know. So, in conclusion, about the deck, I think Orcust K9 is a strong contender. I do not think it's the best deck. I think it is a deck that requires a lot of skill and patience, but if you are a fan of Orcust or of a grindier playstyle that rewards precision and good play, I would suggest it. I will be linking my Orcust K9 spreadsheet down below. It currently only has 10 combos in it, but I might expand it depending on people's reactions. And this spreadsheet is 100% free. I'm not going to make you pay for it. If you have any questions, you can comment them down below. Thank you for watching, and have a lovely day. Goodbye.